might be some rain coming through. We expect rain soon. Rain is close. The session has been declared wet. No sign of this rain stopping. Rain is clearing up. Rain should be gone for now. Nothing but sunshine all day.
Getting into this particular business, it was very important for us to make sure that we were putting out the most authentic product. Sugarlands Distilling Company is a fantastic distillery in downtown Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Our goal is to spread across the country. We would love your help in doing that.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series as we're getting ready to tackle the Sugarland Distilling Co. 250 at Nashville Super Speedway. course, definitely an interesting track we have here tonight. I really would not characterize this place as a super speedway, but, you know, I guess the track owners decided they wanted to name it this, but it's a 1.33 mile racetrack. Of course, usually super speedways are called 2.5 or greater. But either way, we're here. It's going to be an interesting race. I have no doubt. This is a concrete track with a ton of tire wear, and I think these guys have come to play. Of course, my name is Brian Britt, and of course, I have Big Al as my co-commentator. Dylan Banks is joining us as well here tonight. Definitely glad to have him as a kind of a color analyst. How are you guys doing tonight? Big Al, starting with you.
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty good, Brian. I don't know how excited I am to be here back in in Lebanon, Tennessee. Not Nashville, not at the Super Speedway, but I think this is going to be a teeth grinder here tonight, man. If these guys don't bring their patience, it definitely could prove to be a long night for some. Hopefully we'll be able to at least get this thing started and going and get some laps under before we actually have to deal with cautions. I don't think it'll be too many, but with that, I'm going to pass it on over to Dylan.
Oh yeah, man. I actually went to this race last year, and it's a great place. It's just right outside Nashville. But the thing you notice about this track, it's not a super speedway. Number one. Number two, it's a concrete track, and what do concrete tracks do? They eat up the tires. Bristol, Dover, Nashville, they all eat up the tires, and this track is one of one. Honestly, it's you get up on that high side, middle side for a couple laps, you're going to feel it in about 5 to 10 laps how much you burnt your stuff up. So I'm interested to see how this race is going to be tonight. I'm very excited.
Yeah, no, I think that that's some very good points. And just to kind of talk about where this track is actually located, it's actually, I do believe, like you said, Lebanon, which is 40 minutes away from Nashville. So I don't know. We're getting ready to get some emails and letters from the owners of this track because they're gonna be like, "You guys are."
I believe it's pronounced Lebanon.
Yes, Lebanon.
Is that right? Okay. Well. Well, definitely we're gonna have fun tonight. Either way, guys. I mean, this is 1.33 mile track. Very actually tricky track. It actually I think behaves more like a short track than I'd say a super speedway. Considering you're going to have to use that brake at this place. This is not a track you're going to be, really flat out like you would be at another super speedway. Turn 1 and 2, I think there's going to be a lot of brake usage going into 1. What do you guys think? All right,
absolutely. I was waiting to see if Dylan was going to storm, but yeah, absolutely. I think it is going to be. Also, to note, I just don't know how big that groove is going to be. Meaning that I think it's going to possibly run as a single line track, which is going to make it challenging for guys to pass.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
I was going to say I agree with Big Al on that. I do think that it's not like New Hampshire where it's a sync kind of a one groove kind of track, in that dirty air. But yeah, definitely be using the brakes on entry, kind of guiding the car to stick the bottom. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see the middle lane working tonight, the high side working tonight. I mean, it is pretty much like a mile and a half in that kind of thing. I mean, it does drive like a short track in my opinion too. I agree with you, Brian, but I do see this being a multi-groove track, so I'm interested to see how guys use that middle and top and how they manage their stuff up there.
Well, that's interesting that, you say multi-groove. And I think that there is a possibility that we will see some multi-groove racing. But I think, if you run that higher line, there will be more tire wear. You even kind of alluded to that as well, Dylan. Sure. I think the guys, you're going to use that higher line to make the pass. But once you've made that pass, you're going to go right back to running that bottom groove. You're going to try to be consistent to save those tires. Because like you mentioned, this is a concrete track. Concrete tracks act like, in a lot of ways, cheese graters to these tires. But let's look at the details of tonight's race. Let's see what we have to expect here in this 250-mile event. 188 laps, of course, here tonight at Nashville Superspeedway. Stages are 40, and, of course, that's the completion of stage number 1. The completion of stage number 2 is 85, going to 86. Fuel window, 72 laps, so that means we will have to have a green flag pit stop in that last stage. So curious to see how that'll go. I think even if we could make it on fuel in that final stage, they'd still pit because this place is going to tear these tires to shreds. Can't wait to see what it looks like, though, for sure. Let's take a look at the points coming into tonight's race. I think this is going to be interesting. Did we have a change in the points lead? And we did. Patrick Gitter, after his phenomenal run last week at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, of course, did not win the race, but he absolutely dominated essentially the entire event. Won stage 1 and won stage 2. And that gave him quite a points lead. I mean, look at how much points he's got on Brandon Passalacqua now. Of course, Derek Heitman, he sits in third place at the moment. Derek had a very up-and-down day last week, but was able to kind of gather some points out of it. Matt DeCiani, he sits in that fourth-place position. He had finished, I do believe, second place last week. Josh Schaffner, of course, finished, or he's in fifth right now in the points. Chris Johnson, sixth. Miller Bond, seventh. Brian Johnson, eighth. Randy Mullins in ninth. And Greg Wachinski in 10th. Now, this is kind of curious. I don't know if there's maybe a little bit of a typo in the points here, but Miller Bonds has not been running. So I'm curious to see how he moved up the running order a little bit there in the standings.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. It's kind of cheeky because we're going to see, because I was getting ready to say, based on that running order, that's going to actually open up another slot in the top 10, because even if he's in there, he is going to slowly back out. Miller Bonds is not racing with us anymore due to a scheduling conflict. But, that's going to really open up the top 10, Brian.
Now, I do want to mention to everybody at home, that point standings I don't think is completely accurate. So we'll try to get the accurate point standings updated for next week. But it looks like I do believe qualifying getting ready to end. We're going to go ahead and take a step away, pay some attention to, of course, our sponsors. But before that, we're going to play our national anthem. We'll be right back.
Drivers, start your engines!
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. Of course, we have our running order all set at the moment. We're going to go ahead and go right down through it, and definitely excited to see how this is going to go. But Brandon Passalacqua, who was fastest, he was one of the fastest in practice. Looks like he's going to be the fastest in qualifying, a 30.105, which was faster than any lap that was ran in practice. So good on him. Abner Acosta, last week's winner, of course, at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, is going to be qualified on the outside pole. Matt DeCiani, he starts in third. Derek Heitman is going to be in fourth. Josh Schaffner starts in fifth. Brian Johnson qualifies in 6th. Nick King, very good qualifying run for him. He starts 7th. Clayton Hoffman, after not qualifying last week and saying that was the problem, he qualifies 8th. Randy Mullins in 9th. Matthew Cisna rounds out the top 10.
I should put Randy Drimhiller in 11th with J.C. Evans in 12th. 13 shows Tim Wortman Jr. with Greg Wachinski by his side. Kenny Powell rolls off in 15th with Mark Sanchez on his outside. Darren Mullins in the 64 scooter is going to be taking off in 17th, and he's going to have Alexander Carr by his side. Chris D. Johnson in 19th. Jay Holm rounds out the top 20.
21st is going to be Randy Belt. 22nd, Ryan Huff. 23rd, Greg Carr. 24th, Derek Jacobs. 25th, Paul Olson. And 26th, John Bender. So definitely a good-sized field here for Nashville Super Speedway. Definitely excited to see what these guys brought here tonight. Of course, I do want to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room. Last week at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, we saw quite a dramatic conclusion to that race. Abner Acosta was able to grab the win after Patrick Gitter had absolutely dominated the event. And a lot of drivers were very mad at Abner. I'm hoping that they've had some short memories and that we're able to see some good racing here tonight. I know Abner is a very well-respected driver, very talented as well, and hopefully these guys race it out, fairly. I'd say that's what we want to see here tonight, gentlemen.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and I misspoke there at the end. I kind of maybe took a nuts, maybe assassinated Abner's character a little bit, so I want to publicly apologize to him for that because, like you said, he's a consummate professional. He is definitely one of the pillar bearers in this league, if you will.
He's one of the best drivers, I think, that in this series. Definitely the best road course driver that we know. I mean, this guy absolutely dominates at the road courses. And, I've never seen him really rough anybody up in the wrong way. So I think last week was kind of a little bit of an odd occurrence there. But I think tonight's going to be a great race. I think the guys are going to be heated. And I think a lot of times heated drivers make good racing, especially good product for us up here in the booth. I mean, I heard some guys did say that, hey, that was good for ratings last week. And I'm like, yeah, I guess it was. But here we go. Looks like everybody's getting all ready to get going here. I think everybody has pretty much made it to the grid. I think we're just waiting on that pace car to shift into gear and start moving here.
Remember, that's what put NASCAR on the map. I mean, it was a fight in the infield there.
77, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was a little kid, but I was watching that race live when it happened, man, on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Yeah, and that's what kind of kicked off the national level of NASCAR because, I mean, of course, it was followed, but it wasn't, I don't think, as viral, right?
Nothing was viral in 1977.
Yeah. But that was the equivalent of a viral moment, right?
Yeah, anytime because we only really had 3 major networks, so anytime one of those networks would yield a big chunk of time, especially in prime time, which was Sunday, that became a pretty big deal.
But here we go. We're rolling and ready to race here at Nashville Super Speedway. Wonder who's going to be able to destroy that guitar here tonight. I think that's what they do. Or they give them a guitar. I think some drivers destroy it. That's right.
You don't have to destroy it.
I would keep it. I would want to keep it.
I know Ross kept his Chastain last year. I seen it in Trackhouse.
I think Kyle Busch destroyed his one time. I think that's what I'm thinking of.
He might have more than one.
Could very well have. Well, I would say that'd be something I definitely want to keep. But here we go. Pace car lights are out. Getting ready to go racing here at Nashville. As here comes the pace car. Getting ready to take that left turn down pit road onto the apron. And Brandon Pasalacqua set to take the green flag. Clean air is so important at this track, and I think Brandon's going to definitely have his lion's share of the clean air as he rockets down the front stretch. Abner Acosta, though, with a good run on the entry to 1. I think Pasalacqua, will he get clear? You can see Abner kind of sets it in, but he backs it off a little bit here. Pasalacqua is going to lead on the exit of turn 2. But a good run for Abner Acosta on the exit of turn 2. As you see, of course, Matt DeCiani securely in 3rd place. Derek Heitman secures 4th. Of course, you see Josh Shopper starting to drive his way up to the 76.
Brian, we are still, well, we're starting to kind of thin it out, but towards the back of the pack, we're still side by side. Even got a propensity almost to kind of go 3 wide there, so he's got to start to get their legs underneath them, figure out how this track is going to run and do battle here. The ambient temperature is, like I said, the temperature in the seats is 82 degrees. The temperature on the street is about 110 degrees. So winds are out of the northwest at 14, 15 miles per hour. So we'll be keeping our eye on the weather as well.
One thing I noticed last week, I think the conditions of the racetrack were vastly different than what these guys had experienced in the official races, and that was something that caused a lot of issues. Guys had to make adjustments and kind of get set for the specific conditions, but it looks like these guys seem pretty comfortable. I know in officials we've seen a lot of guys getting loose, getting back to the gas. Dylan, have you had any experience with the race car this week at Nashville Superspeedway?
I have actually. There is a really, really bad bump in 3 and 4. Like if you hit it the wrong way and you're in the throttle too much, it upsets the car a lot. But I ran, and I think the name of the game here is definitely saving tire. Because I mean, you could get a huge lead on somebody, but if they're saving better than you, they can pull you right back in long run. So I'm interested to see how well people's tires are going to hold up here tonight.
That's definitely a really good point. I think tires are going to be incredibly important. Speaking of which, I hate to keep mentioning Abner, but Abner 30.8 last time by. He was the slowest driver in the top 10. Could that have something to do with saving tires as he let Derek Heitman go? Now Josh Schaffner's all over his rear end. And look at Clayton Hoffman, who started in 8th place, up to 6th, banging on the back door of the top 5. Here he goes. He's going to take that top 5 position. It kicks in the door.
Yeah, I think right now it's conservation time. I mean, you're just getting going, getting the tires warmed up, just figuring out which way the car is going to go, especially handling in traffic here for the first time this evening. And you got, we're in 6 laps deep into this, so don't count them out just yet. That just might be his strategy. And Clayton's definitely going to want to get up front. I mean, he had a disastrous start last week. And I think he's really just trying to get up front to get away from anything like that happening again.
No, I definitely agree. Derek Heitman just made a pass for 2nd place. I think he is quickly chasing down our leader, Brandon Pasalacqua. Now, Heitman, we talked about him last week not having the greatest of runs. I mean, he kind of worked his way back up into a respectable finish. But usually we expect Heitman to be up in the winner's circle. And I think tonight, he's trying to redeem that in a lot of ways to get that view back in focus that, hey, I am a winner, as that 76 tries to chase down the 6.
Yeah, but he ought to be careful, though, because that'll come back to bite you in long run if you're not careful with those tires. So I think, honestly,
we have some 3 wide. I'm sorry to interrupt you there, Dylan. We have some 3 wide further back there for about 13th, 14th, and 15th. Matthew Cisna has fallen back to 16th right now. Kenny Powell had to take the middle lane to get by him. Of course, Chris Johnson had to go on the bottom. So it looks like the 11 having some struggles at the moment. But yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Dylan. There was some action on the track. What were you saying?
No, you're good, man. I was intrigued to hear that too. 3 wide at Nashville. That's kind of a first for me. I know it's a wider track, but you rarely ever see 3 wide here. You might see 2 wide, but it's rare to see 3 wide. So, but yeah, I was just gonna say I'm interested to see what Derek's gonna do here. Is if he's gonna push and try to get by Brandon to get that clean air, or is he gonna hang behind him and kind of try to manage his stuff up? I'm very interested to see, but it looks like he's wanting to take that clean air as he goes side by side with him in 1 and 2 right here.
Wow, what a move. You can just see he really sent it in 1 there. Not able to get the momentum, though, I do believe, as they are side by side for the lead entering turn number 3. Derek Heitman, seems like that car's handling the middle very well at the moment, and I think Brandon is going to kind of not have the momentum on exit because this is one of those tracks. If you're side by side, that top group is going to probably get the run a little bit easier because you have to bend that car down when you're on the bottom, and you're not able to kind of extend and arc the corner like that guy is up on top.
Mm-hmm. Exactly right, Brian. I'm interested to see what Derek does here, because that it might have been one lap he was up top, but that one lap it does a lot of damage on the tires.
Well, we did discuss that being an option. Guys kind of using that higher groove to make passes. As Abner Acosta in the hornet's nest right now. Josh Schaffner making a pass back up into 5th place. Randy Mullins all over right now the 55. Looks like the 55 almost gets hit by Brian Johnson there. And everybody trying to get by the 55 here.
Yeah, I think Abner's he's finding this group. Thinks he's going to fall back just a little bit, Brian. Maybe, lap 30 or so. There's no sense of wearing your stuff out at this point. You're not really going to gain anything.
I think
I agree with you, Big
probably is exactly what he's doing here. Kind of always is a conservative type driver. And that's where his strength was last week at New Hampshire. Now, of course, we talked about the dramatic conclusion of that race. We do have to say that Abner was fast in that race last week. I mean, he, on the long run, he was able to catch Paul Hill, who was in 3rd, and challenge him. And they were fighting for quite a while before that contact happened there with a couple laps to go. And this is kind of his strength. Abner backs off a lot. He runs his own race, I think is the key, the term I should say.
But now we're dealing with a 4-car breakaway as Derek Heitman, Brandon Pasalacqua, Clayton Hoffman, and Matt DeCiani have done just that, bringing just a little bit of separation between themselves and Randy Mullins, which he's going to be there with the back of the pack. So I'm just wanting to see how big of a lead these guys can get, or if the rest of the
somebody just
back
plowed into the wall. Oh, man, somebody just iced over.
Caution is out. Chris Johnson,
the 19 car.
The 56 taking a tow. He is out of the race.
What a
Chris
hit.
Johnson absolutely demolished his race car. As we're going to take a look and see exactly what happened. I think we went a little bit too. We're going to go back a little bit and rewind it.
That was
see
a
exactly
hit right
what
there.
happened. And it looks like maybe some contact with Darren Mullins. Let's take a look. And, of course, right there, just a little bit of contact. And then he finishes them off with another hit. So 2 hits. And that sends the 56 up into the outside wall. Absolutely creams that race car.
That's what we call a double tap.
Oh, and then Mark Sanchez comes in. Alexander Carr comes in, hits the 56 as well. So that is just unfortunate. 2 other drivers involved in this that had absolutely nothing to do with the initial accident. And look at this. Look how violent he recoils off that wall.
18 of
Alexander Carr,
right? Look on board with the 64, though, to see the initial contact, see what he was doing in the cockpit. I think that'd be worthwhile to look at. What do you guys think?
Oh, yeah. But the thing was, Brian, is that
this is, of course, Carr, but yeah, that's a violent impact. I meant the 64 of Darren Mullins to kind of see exactly whenever he has this initial contact with the 56. Let's go further back. Yep.
Alexander Carr had the repairs required flag, but he's since got those repairs fixed.
See, he actually didn't hit him a first time. He actually just hit him the once. It looked like there was a first hit and then a second hit, but it actually just was one hit. But either way, contact from Darren Mullins to the back bumper of Chris Johnson ends that night. And are we hearing? You said that Alexander Carr with a black flag for a meatball.
Yeah, but he's got it taken care of. Just came back down to get the second, more repairs done. And I think he's just going to try to keep that thing running around on the lead lap as long as possible, Brian.
And it looks like pace car lights have gone back out. They've got the mess cleaned up on the racetrack, and we're getting ready to go back racing. Of course, I think we're going to have about half of the stage still to go. I think it's going to be 23 laps to be exact here towards the end. I don't believe anyone came down pit road. Well, actually, I marked that. Abner Acosta came down pit road. Randy Mullins came down pit road. J.C. Evans, Brian Johnson. So we did see quite a number of pit stops. I do want to mention how many sets of tires. We have 6 sets of tires all together, 5 down in the pits here tonight. And so that's important to note. So that'll be interesting to see, if you have tires to play with. I don't really mind a call like this. I mean, this is going to help you.
Abner might have taken right sides only, but everybody else had a full pit stop, so that means 4 in gas, Brian.
And wouldn't be surprised that Abner might have made some adjustments to that race car. It didn't seem like it was handling the best, but who knows? Not quite sure what he would have done on the long run. Pace car down pit road. Derek Heitman going to be leading us to green. Do we have wheel spin at this concrete track? We're getting ready to find out as we enter the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. Looks like everybody able to get up through the gears without any issues. Great start from Clayton Hoffman. He shoots up to second place. Gets right by Brandon Pastelak with a 1 of Matt DeCiani, getting a solid run, trying to battle with the 50. Nick King running, I think the best we've seen him run is up in 6th right now. Tim Wortman Jr. battling with Randy Drumhiller for 7th.
Now, Nick has had a top 5 at least stage finish here, so yeah, but it is good to see him back up front. Whatever advantage was gained has been lost as the 64 of Dan Mullins looks like he's struggling just a little bit on top there, Brian, trying to figure out where he's going to end up. Threw right again back towards the back as these guys are just, everybody's sizing it up, just trying to into the wall goes Mullins.
Yeah, Darren Mullins not liking that race car right now. I don't know if he has maybe a remnant of a little bit of damage from that contact with Chris Johnson, or if he's just not liking the way the car handles around this place. He almost caused a massive accident there.
Yeah, there was a mass exodus as everybody was trying to get away from the 64.
And it looks like everybody was able to do that. So we're still green, no issues. It seems like he's definitely having problems. We see a big battle going on between J.C. Evans and Brian Johnson for that 13th place position. And everybody's pretty close. Randy Mullins battling with Randy Belk at the moment, side by side for 10th place. So a lot of fighting going on throughout this racetrack.
Yeah, we're halfway through this first stage, and I'm telling you, a big data analysis just got crumpled up there because they weren't able to get that full 40 run that they need, I think, in order to figure out exactly where you're going to try to put the car.
That's a really good point. I think that these, a lot of times these stages in the ISCA run very green at most racetracks. So you're able to get really incredibly important and valuable data to see what a 40-lap run would do. I mean, that can be used to make adjustments for that longer stage in Stage 3 to kind of, adapt the race car for later. So we'll see if they're going to be able to improvise and adapt to the lack of data they're getting now.
Yeah, but just to even kind of give you a benchmark, you need as long of a run as possible. They're not going to get that. They're going to get 2 short runs and then have to go the best they can. Track's cooling down, though, man, as we keep it flowing around. Everybody seems to be staying in line, and we don't have that breakaway as we had earlier. But the 76 and Derek Heitman is still leading the way. Clayton Hoffman, he is doing what Clayton do. I like to say that, and he is actually holding up in second place. I think he's just going to put just a firm amount of pressure there on the 76.
Oh, we just had a little bit of contact there as our producer just, of course, had to share that because he was like, whoa, I think he saw exactly what I just saw. Tim Wortman Jr. and Randy Mullins, a little bit of contact. Randy got into the rear end of Tim Wortman Jr., moved him up the racetrack, and took over 7th. Looks like Randy Mullins very much wanting to get stuff done here as he now battles side by side with 3. A little tight on the exit. These guys are battling. This is looking like some short track racing, and Randy Mullins, he has some short track racing experience. I would not be surprised if he's definitely. Whoa, look at that. A little bit of repercussions there.
I almost getting the next one there. Oh, yeah, they're getting a little testy down there. It's exactly what I was talking about. They're going to have to, if you don't unpack your patience, they're going to get a little elbowy.
Well, I mean, you saw Randy kind of got a little bit tight on the 3, ran him up a little bit, used him up a little bit in the 3. I don't think he liked that at all. Nick King kind of went in and gave him a little bit of a bump to the Mac bumper, and that's unsettled the 54. But look at how graceful the 54 was able to recover from that. He drove away. He just was like, see ya. Like,
but Brian, I think he was one of the pit too. I think you pitted for tires. He was one of them that pitted.
That's a good point. Randy Mullins did pit for tires. Yeah.
I think he was just trying to get away from those guys, you know what I mean? J.C. Evans, though, Brian, looks like he's having his hands full back there on that 9 car. Just seems to be, as I watch him, looks like he gets a little bit like he's tight.
And there's another position gain for Randy Mullins, up to now 5th place. And yeah, I can see J.C. Evans. He's right behind a gaggle of race cars. Kenny Powell, of course, has driven his way up to 7th place. He's battling right now for that 7th place position with Brian Johnson. You see him, Tim Ortman Jr., Nick King, Randy Drumhiller. J.C. Evans a little bit further back. He's in 14th, but this is a huge gaggle of cars. This is looking like a super speedway race. So I guess I got to apologize to Nashville. They're looking like they're delivering a very close racing here tonight.
Yeah, they might not be having the right time, but I tell you what, I'm having a blast there watching this thing go down as these drivers are trying to assert themselves for position. And this is just stage 1. Matter of fact, we're coming up on 10 to go right now, 12 to go for stage 1 is in the books, but there's been no shortage of excitement here tonight.
Yeah, it has been battling since the green flag dropped. I don't think we've seen single file once. We've at least seen some double file racing throughout the race the entire time so far, so I expect it's going to continue to be like that. I mean, the track could cool down and could even provide even greater speeds. You see J.C. Evans battling with Abner Acosta. Of course, Abner Acosta was the driver that took, I do believe, right sides only. That actually will help that car turn a little bit better, I do believe, at a track like this. So, and this is a track where, you're either going to be extremely tight or extremely loose on the longer run. So I would want to be a little bit looser to kind of help that car turn. Dylan, what do you think? Do you think you'd want to run it tighter or looser?
I think I would want it balanced. Definitely don't want to be too loose here, especially going over them bumps, because it is a pretty bumpy track. But you definitely don't want to be too tight and burn that right front off either. So I think I want to be balanced. Yeah, I was about to say, Big Al, I think they heard you talking about 10 to go because they are moving now.
J.C. Evans is on a mission. As I've been watching him, and he was back there behind the 44 of Drumhiller, and now look at him. He is pushing the 24 of Powell. I mean, these guys are battling for the points. They understand what's going on, right?
They're definitely right on the edge of the top 10 battling for points. Of course, we just saw a challenge for the lead from Brandon Pasalacqua. Pasalacqua tried to attack the 76. It seems like he's got a good long run machine. Of course, you see Clayton Hoffman as well under fire from Randy Mullins. But here comes Mullins. Here comes Mullins on the newer tires. He might take the lead here. If we got 9 laps to go here, if this runs green, Randy Mullins has got the tires to take the lead.
But will he pay for it long run though, Brian? Because that's the set going right there, and the other guys haven't even took their first set that are in the lead right now.
That's a good point, but I'll tell you what, we know how valuable stage points are in this series. We saw even last week that being displayed. Patrick Gitter dominated the race, won both stage 1 and stage 2, and I do believe exited as the points leader as a result of that. He didn't even win the race, but he still gained the most points. And I think that's what Randy's thinking right now. He's thinking, I need to gain as many points as I can in these stages. Here he goes, challenging for the lead, trying to get underneath the 76. Here we are, battle for the lead. Derek Heitman under fire from the 54. Of course, lap traffic as well coming into play. Can he make the pass stick? As there's lap car. Woo, we're getting a little bit tight here at Nashville. As the 18, of course, driving a discount modified, kind of pinches the real estate there. Wasn't a whole lot of real estate, but Derek Heitman managed to squeeze through that gap.
Derek ain't gonna give it up easy, I can promise you, and I wouldn't expect him to. And look at Brandon Pasalacqua coming there. He might play a part in this too. And Brian Johnson back there.
Brian's on newer tires as well.
Definitely going to have a 6-lap shootout. These guys are even battling for that bubble position. As Abner Acosta has clearly made his way up in the 9th place, and he is trying to catch that lead back as well.
Yeah, I'm sure he is definitely going to try to see if he can do that. He's got to get by Tim Ortman Jr., but we have a gaggle of race cars battling for this top 5. Still side by side for the lead. Here comes Brian Johnson. He's getting a good run. One thing about this racetrack is when you're side by side, you're going to be slower. And I think that's why Brian is having such an easier time catching up to these guys, and he really doesn't know what to do. Of course, he's going to probably push his teammate, his other Paradigm teammate, the 54. So So I'll tell you, Paradigm is looking real strong right now, guys.
Well, and they lost one already. They would have probably been a lot stronger had not it been that Chris got taken out so early.
And there it is, change for the lead. Brian Johnson able to push Randy Mullins by the 76. As now we have
76 out to dry there. It did for a second. If he didn't get back in the groove, I thought he was going to lose more.
But hey, Brian not content to hang out in second. He says, I'm going for the stage win, Randy. As he tries to go side by side there, but Randy able to secure the lead off of turn 2. What a race. Clayton Hoffman trying to go and attack the 6 and the 76 as we have a 6-car breakaway.
Brandon Passalacqua trying to get by Derek Heitman now. He's going to take the lion's share of third position.
And I was saying that top line right here, he can burn him up pretty quick. And Derek was up there for about a good, like 4 or 5 laps.
And that was in the beginning of the race. I mean, whenever he was driving his way to the front, that's when we saw Derek Heitman do that, as he is in the midst of a battle now with Passalacqua. Passalacqua trying to take over third. And this would, if they finish like this would make a Paradigm 1, 2, 3, 4 stage 1. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, it would be something, because here's Clayton Hoffman. He is pushed up on the 76 as well, trying to get himself secured into the top 5.
Yeah, I got to say, I think Heitman maybe burned his equipment up a little bit too much. So that's going to be something he's going to have to make a mental note of that as we get ready to start. Oh, caution flag is out as Nick King, the 3 machine, with some issues. So this is going to end stage number 1. It looks like Nick King in the 3 with some issues. Let's see exactly what happened, as it looks like he's down on the apron, battling with, I do believe, Jay Hone, if I'm not mistaken, in the 19. Jay running a little bit of a different paint scheme here tonight, as I think this might be just a loose condition, possibly. No, he gets tight up on the 19. The 19 was holding his line from what I'm seeing here. The 19 in that Miller Lite machine was up towards the top of the track, and the 3 just got tight up on that. Maybe tried to side draft him to pull him back, and unfortunately contact ensued, which caused the caution, and that will end stage 1. Randy Mullins finishes in the top spot. He wins stage number 1. Brian Johnson finishes 2nd. Brandon Passalacqua in 3rd. Derek Heitman 4th. Clayton Hoffman 5th. Matt DeCiani in 6th. Abner Acosta 7th. Josh Schaffner 8th. Tim Wortman Jr. 9th. And Greg Wachinski rounds out our top 10. We're going to take a brief step away real fast, and we'll come right back. We'll talk to Randy Mullins.
Getting into this particular business, it was very important for us to make sure that we were putting out the most authentic product. Sugarlands Distilling Company is a fantastic distillery in downtown Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Our goal is to spread across the country. We would love your help in doing that.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. As we've been covering stage number 1, it has been quite an exciting stage. And, of course, the man who took tires, really winning strategy, Randy Mullins, working his way up through the field. I do believe we saw, if I'm not mistaken, a Paradigm 1, 2, 3 stage finish. How you doing, Randy?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
Doing great, man. I mean, got to ask you, how's that car handling tonight?
It's pretty good. We put in a lot of time this week. I go through a phase after lap 20 where it's a little snug for about 8 laps, and then it comes back to me. If we could get that out, I think I can finish top 3 tonight. But, hey, I needed some playoff points, so I had to do what I had to do there.
And that is a definitely, those playoff points are so important. And what are you going to do for tires, though? I mean, later in the race, do you think tires is going to be something you're going to be really worried about because burning that setup, or what?
No, we still got the sets in the pits. We always have one to play with, so I took advantage of it that stage just because the caution come out right at the middle of it. If it happens in this stage, obviously I'm not going to be able to do that because I burned up the play set. So we'll take it a little easy here the first half of this stage, and then when we get right about halfway through it, we'll take off, see what happens.
All right. So what was the preparation process this week here for the Paradigm guys? Did you guys work a lot on the? You said you kind of worked a lot on this race car tonight.
Yes, we turned a lot of laps, and then I spent a lot of time with Brandon and just working on entry and then center rotation. So hopefully it pays off. I'm going to try to beat the 6. It's highly doubtful, but this field's so stacked, man. If I could just walk out of here with a top 3, I'll be happy.
All right. Well, hopefully you're able to get that for sure and get you some much-needed points. Randy, who can we shout out after your Stage 1 win?
I want to shout out my guys there at Paradigm, Brian, Josh, Chris, Brandon, obviously you and Big Al up in the booth, and Kenny for putting on the league.
All right, Randy. Thanks for your time. We'll see you later, hopefully. Good luck.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All righty, that was Randy Mullins, driver of the 54 machine. Looks like we're getting ready to go back. Green guys, and of course, he takes his position up at the front of the field. Brian Johnson going to be starting up on the higher side there. I think Brian, if I got to be honest, Brian is looking like he is really fast here tonight. Of course, he did take take tires there, in the middle of that stage.
This is going to be the tell-all right here, because Stage 2, this stage just being 5 laps longer, but those 5 laps are going to make a big difference here. Hopefully these guys will get pushed and actually have to run that full 45 on the set of tires that they got. Conserve, come up with a strategy, watch it develop, and then, kind of fine-tune that bad boy for green flag pit stops in Stage 3. Lights off on the pace car. He's going to get up out of the way here pretty soon, man, and I think this Stage 2 is not going to disappoint.
I think a lot of people probably just made some adjustments to their race cars as well to try to get their things working a little bit better. I mean, they did get some data. Would not be surprised we see some guys trying some different things as the pace car dives out of the way. Into the Geico restart zone we go, and Randy Mullins leads us there. Very good start for Mullins. Very good start for Heitman, though, as he gives a little bit of a bump to the back end of the 54. What a run there on the start. Here comes Brian Johnson. Look at him with that huge shift of momentum to the center of the corner.
Yep, now it's time to start getting back low, get low. Got to get it in line because you're not going to win anything. These guys up front, they're battling for track position. That just goes to indicate how valuable it is for that clean air. But Randy Mullins, he's out front, and he's got good hair. He doesn't care, man.
And here comes Brian Johnson, or should I say Clayton Hoffman, entering the fray as he dives in on the inside of Brian Johnson. He's going to lose a little bit of momentum on the exit, but I think he might get the pass completed here. As Brian, I think, trying to save a little bit of those tires. Matt DeCiani's entering the fray as well. We see Abner Acosta battling with the 50 of John Schaffner. We have a stacked top 10 right now of just insanely talented drivers. We see teammates battling for 10th right now. Kenny Powell and J.C. Evans. Virgin on possible 3 wide, as you saw, of course, Josh Jobner, I think, trying to maybe attack some of these drivers as well. We're seeing just a lot of guys taking some risks. And you love to see it. The one, of course, of Matt DeCiani. Going to try to get the pass completed on Johnson. And I think Brian's trying to save his equipment a little bit. I don't think he's really trying to drive it quite so hard as everybody else, though, trying to migrate to the front. As Randy Mullins in control of the race. 3/10 is his lead right now on Derek Heitman. Of course, Clayton Hoffman closing in to the rear end of Heitman. But we see that one machine starting to stalk his prey, Brandon Passalacqua. Such a tricky track here at this place. I think a lot of these guys had to spend a lot of time turning laps here. I mean, you heard Randy Mullins saying that he had to really work on entry. Here comes Clayton Hoffman around the high side, challenging for second place. This is the guy you do not want to give a position to because you will have a tough time getting it back. Clayton Hoffman, one of the best to ever grace the ISCA's track. And here he is.
Yeah, Clayton's definitely be trying to get up in the P2. I think he got a lot of notes. He took a lot of notes there in Stage 1, and he's definitely going to be trying to get it done.
I mean, he is the best. I would say he's arguably one of the best to ever race in this series. And he's a champion caliber race car driver, and as well, he knows what he's doing behind the adjustments as well. I mean, crew chief wise, he's his own crew chief. He don't need nobody to crew chief for him. He makes the adjustments. He knows what everything's going to do to that race car. And we've even heard him say, hey, you know, what was it? I think one week he showed up with a car. He said, I don't like how this car's running. I think this is terrible for me. And by the end of the race, he was up in the top 5. You know, like, I mean, it just seems like he's able to adjust the car. And here we go. Challenge for the lead. As Clayton Hoffman, he takes it effortlessly almost, as he is now in control. But he's like an all around. He's got all the tools, right? I mean, he's able to adjust the car. That's huge. And he's able to drive it.
And no doubt, once Clayton made it to the front, I think his strategy is to stay there. I think once he gets there, he's going to run his own pace because he knows that. So I don't think you really got to worry about him kind of burning his stuff up, but I think he's got his car dialed in. So, you know, do you guys realize we didn't do the over-under?
We surely didn't. And as we see, almost some contact there between Randy Mullins and Derek Heitman. We might see some contact. Woo, they're getting very close to wrecking here. Oh, they might. They are beaten and just getting really, it's a lot of drama right now for second place. Ooh. This is looking like at any moment we could see a possible accident. Speaking of over-unders, I mean, we've already had 2 cautions, I do believe, based on accidents on the racetrack. So, of course, I'm going to go with 5. What are you guys going to go with?
I'll let you go first, Big Al.
No. You go ahead.
He said nice try. I'm going to go with 3. I don't think we'll see too many more cautions here tonight.
Yeah, I think we're going to see 1 more. So having 2 in the books, I think that I'm going to go with 3 also.
Y'all can pick the same thing when it is?
Okay, I'll take 4.
I was about to say, I don't think we've ever picked the same thing. What about our producer?
He said 1.
So he said that. We'll say Kobe is going to stick with what we have right now, too, right?
Okay, good call, Kobe.
All right. So Derek Heitman has retaken second place. He's going to try to see if he can drive down Clayton Hoffman. At the moment, Derek is faster than Clayton. And guys are starting to spread out a little bit more. I do believe we have a battle going on a little bit further back. Tim Wortman Jr. fighting with, if I'm not mistaken, Abner Acosta for the 8th place position. But for the most part, everybody kind of single file. This is what we expect when we are getting settled and ready for a long run. We're going to have 30 laps to go here in stage 2 here momentarily. As you can see, Wortman all over the back of the 55. As I do believe we see Greg Wachinski trying to maybe attack teammate Kenny Powell. That's for the 10th place position. Now, that's one team we don't talk a lot about, the G&G crowd. I got to say, those guys are looking really good, pretty stout here tonight. They've been hovering right around that 10th place position. Would not be surprised that those guys work their way up into possibly higher up in the running order.
But they're keeping pretty good company where they're at, Brian. So if you just take that into account, they're definitely not slouching. It's just that the guys that are in front of them just happen to be, all, major leaguers.
That's right, 100%. And, these guys are definitely good drivers in their own right, as we see Wachinski trying to drive it in on the 24, not quite able to get there. Wachinski looking like he's got a lot of confidence in that race car. But as we stand, Clayton Hoffman in the lead. Derek Heitman sits in second. Brandon Passalacqua in third. DeCiani fourth. Randy Mullins, stage 1 winner, is in fifth at the moment. And it looks like Clayton's starting to drive away. Last time by, though, Passalacqua actually was one of the faster cars on the racetrack. Wachinski, though, underneath the 24. As we see this battle for 10th. This is for stage points right here. This is for that last stage point. So you can see why these guys are fighting. They know how valuable these points are. It doesn't matter what team I'm on. I'm trying to get that point.
Yeah, because these points matter right now. This is one of the last opportunities that you're going to have to get free points, but you only get those points if you're in the top 10, my friend.
You say free. I don't think they're free at all. You have to work hard for these points.
They're free. It's a
Are they?
reward. It's a reward for hard work.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Free means you don't have to earn them.
I don't mean like the Democrats free.
Oh man.
Battle right now for 8th place. Tim Wortman Jr. and Abner Acosta are in the midst of a battle side by side as they are trading that position back and forth. Of course, Wortman's on that higher groove. And Abner, of course, trying to hold on. I just don't think Abner's got the speed here tonight so far. Maybe he's got that car.
It's coming.
You think so? I mean, I've always been that guy that doubts Abner in the early portions of the race, but then he shows up later with long run speed that we just don't expect.
I mean, it's early. You know what I mean? It's like we still got a long, long ways to go. Track temps actually dropped down to 99 degrees.
Wow, that's a big drop.
Still 81 in the seats.
That's a big one. I mean, wasn't the track temp 110 when we started this race?
Yes.
That's a big drop.
It's a huge drop.
That's going to definitely change the handling of these race cars, and I know a lot of these teams are trying to keep up with that. And that's going to provide more grip to the race car, but that also will cause the car to get a little bit looser. I'd say we'll have to see how that kind of plays out as we see Derek Heitman slowly reeling in Clayton Hopp, and Pasalakwa's been reeling in Heitman as well. DeCiani looking fast. I like what I'm seeing from DeCiani right now.
Yeah, I got to correct you, man. We've only had one caution. Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah, we did have the second caution was the stage caution.
Well, that second caution was premature right before the end of stage
Gotcha.
one.
Yep.
Are we counting that one?
Yes, of course.
And I forgot that was earlier on. Yeah,
I did too.
Yeah, because remember we had one at around lap 18, 17 or so, and then we had a caution on lap 40 right before we hit 40. Because I mean, if we had hit 41 and then caution came out, that would have been for the stage. But that caution kind of prematurely ended the stage, so unfortunate to see that for sure. Luckily, it wasn't too big of some big hits or anything like that. I mean, nobody's day got ended like we saw on that first caution though, where Chris Johnson, of course, day ended there. And I'd say Alexander Carr's day pretty much ruined as a result of that wreck as well. I mean, he's 5 laps down at the moment and still probably has critical damage on that race car. But I got to give him a lot of credit. I mean, Alexander Carr deserves, somewhat of a round of applause for still sticking with it. I mean, 5 laps down and you're still turning laps. I mean, there's something to be said about that when you have no front bumper.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And we see that. We see a lot of guys that have that same tenacity, and they actually get a chance to display it. I just, like I said, I don't have that. That's not me, man. If mine's wrecked like that, I'm taking it home.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand for sure. I mean, this is and the kind of damage he had was probably suspension damage. And while this is not like an aero track or anything, well, I mean, I guess it is an aero track when it comes to the handling of the race car, but not when it comes to the speed quite so much. But if you knock the toe out like he did, and I'm sure the car just is not going to handle good, no matter how much you fix it. But glad to see him. I think he just wanting to keep getting points. Because if you quit, you get that DNF. You don't have a chance to get any points, as much as you could have. And who knows? Even though the ISCA does see less cautions or wrecks than other series, there still is that chance that somebody gets absolutely demolished and you're able to get their position, and that's points.
I agree.
But the good thing about it right now, guys, is we're kind of settling into this race rhythm. I mean, you're really getting into the single file. Not a lot of jostling for position going on. Looks like the 33 car of Randy Belk still trying to get up on it a little bit, but everybody else just seems to be on that evening commute home.
Yeah, speaking of which, we can go look at that. What's happening back there? Kenny Powell under fire from J.C. Evans. Randy Belk right there. Belk, of course, in that SimCube 33 machine trying to attack the 9 of J.C. Evans. And speaking of that first caution, Mark Sanchez was sort of involved in that first caution. He's still running pretty good. He's back there in 14th at the moment. He was actually one of the fastest cars in practice. So I think we give this guy some track position. If that car is not too hurt, I think he might be someone to contend with. As Belk tries to make a move on the 9. Can he get underneath? Here he goes. As he tries to drive it on the apron. That would be something scary about this racetrack, is that apron down there. I don't know if I really want to take it down there on that front stretch.
Does it remind you of Phoenix, Brian?
Well, not quite as much. Not quite as much. I don't know. I just, anytime, like Phoenix, I think it's almost like you have to run the apron at some point. But
yeah,
like
it's expected at Phoenix. Like you're weird if you take the racetrack when you go through there.
It does burn up the stuff though. It does burn up the tires doing it, and it's easy to spin out.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing is true here. You know, like I think that staying up on the racetrack at Phoenix saves the tire, and you're able to have more momentum and set up the entry to turn 3 better. And I think that's the same way here. If you take that apron here, it might hurt your entry to 1. So I don't know. I mean, that's just something to talk about. I mean, going down on the apron a lot of times does seem to hurt the tires more. But I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting. I know guys do it. Some of the best go down there and do it. So it must be worth it.
Isn't Kansas another one of those tracks where you kind of go down outside the apron?
Chicagoland, I know, is one. But yeah, I think Vegas definitely is one.
Vegas, yes, that's another one.
Yeah. Clayton Hoffman, though, out front right now, taking control of this race. Last time by 30.580. He was the fastest car on the racetrack. So he seems to have this race car figured out. He has not seen a whole lot of fall off either. Looking at his lap times, his best lap was a 30.155, which was the fastest lap of the race. And he has only fallen off about 0.4. I mean, that's not that much, really, when you think about it. I mean, I thought this place was going to tear these tires apart, but it really hasn't done that for Clayton. I think Clayton is just really very conservative. He's able to maintain and run his pace. Like, Big Al kind of alluded to before, Derek Heitman hasn't fallen off that much either. I think
we're 3 wide.
3 wide.
Yep. We are 3 wide for 14th.
I think you're talking about more like 16th.
Like, I was like, why are we 3 wide?
You see Greg Carr, Randy Drumhiller, Matthew Cisna, they were all...
Yeah, it was the 40, 40, 11, and the 3 that were just like, they were 3 wide across.
Lot of battling.
I was going to say, Brian, yeah, I know you're talking about Clayton being able to run his own pace. I think the biggest thing is, I mean, he's out front in that clean air, and it's kind of allowing him to run his own pace. He's not having to push to get past anybody. He's just running his own pace, running his own line, and managing his stuff. So I think that's really big for Clayton.
Yeah, you don't want to give Clayton off in clean air. You do not want to give him... You don't want to give him anything, to be honest with you. But, a lot of times these guys don't give him anything. He just takes it. Like, because he's so fast.
And it's a lot of...
Go ahead.
But it's a lot of responsibility, though, with being out front like that, because if the driver can't pace himself, he can't pace the race. He will outpace his tires, and he'll find himself, instead of being in the lead, he'll be fighting for 10th place. But you don't get that, really, when Clayton takes the lead. When he steps up to the plate, you really know, he's going to get a solid hit.
You're exactly right, Big Al.
Crazy racing further back. Of course, our producer bringing us all the action right now as we're looking off the back of a race car, watching Matt DeCiani, or I'm sorry, that's Matt Cisna there. This is outside of the top 15, just fighting tooth and nail for every position back here. Man, it's getting exciting. We see, of course, Kenny Powell racing with Wojcinski. Powell getting very tight on the exit. Greg going to cross him over. As you see, also Mark Sanchez. This is a battle between teammates. The G&G crew always battling each other. You love to see it. These guys all love to compete. And Sanchez, this is a driver I think has got a lot of speed. Look at him driving by Wachinski. I think Sanchez has got some really good speed. Top 10 speed for sure here from the 29. I do want to talk about, though, fall off. I was talking about how fall off didn't seem like it was impacting these guys very much, but I'm starting to see some drivers, more than others, are starting to have some issues. DeCiani's one of them. Randy Moans is one of them.
Well, yeah,
9 from DeCiani. DeCiani is struggling right now.
yeah, you have 5 laps to go in this thing. It's the 27 is really off the pace, and Mark Sanchez is going to find himself getting ready to get lapped here momentarily. But yeah, you're right, man. With 40 laps to go on their tires, you're definitely going to start to see these guys. You know, they're going to start to show signs of wear.
Yeah, 100%. As we're coming up to 5 laps to go in stage number 2. Stage 2 flying right on by. No caution for stage 2, which is is pretty impressive. As here comes Brian Johnson. He's going to ride around trying to get past the 1 on the top. Brian Johnson moves up into 4th place. As Abner Acosta as well, trying to drive his way up.
I was gonna say, Brian. I think Matt he looks really, really tight. I'm watching his cockpit. Yeah, I'm watching his cockpit, and he's having a rough time getting to the bottom.
And I think that's gonna mean he's gonna need to make some adjustments. I think Randy Moans is having the same struggle right now. And Randy in his interview did allude to the fact that he said, "Hey, I get tight, I get snug later in the run." He did say that. Look at this, a little bit of some blocking action from DeCiani not wanting to let the 55 get above the 1. This is very interesting to say the least. Is DeCiani just that tight, or is he purposely trying to keep this 55 from getting a run on it?
I think he's just tight, Ryan. I was watching this cockpit, and he's using a lot more brake than everybody else trying to hold us to the bottom. He's having a really tough time.
Yeah, you can tell he's having to turn a lot more, and a lot of times when you turn a lot more, that makes that car even tighter. Here comes a crossover, though. He must not be too tight. He sure is trying to drive it in on the 55. Ooh, he's going to get real tight up to him. Woo, boy, that was close. I thought the 1 was surely about to clean the 55 out, but I do believe Abner has gotten past.
The 92 is down pit road. Not sure what that's about.
Yeah, what happened to Hoffman? Whoa, what happened to Clayton?
Clayton Hoffman short pitting the stage. This is really... why would you do this as the leader?
Yeah, because he...
Taking a little bit of gas there.
Oh, he's going to get lapped.
Why would you do this?
Wow.
And he does go a lap down. I
did not see that coming.
I just think he didn't want to talk to me.
That is the most curious, bizarre thing.
I think we got to bring him up here in the booth for an interview.
I'm still going to talk to him.
I'd love to know why he decided to do that. He didn't take tires, he just took gas only. Caution is out, and that, of course, is the completion of stage number 2. Derek Hyman wins stage 2. Wow, I did not expect that. I thought Clayton had it.
Did he short pit? Did he not put enough fuel in the car last
Maybe
time?
He didn't have enough gas. We're going to find out. Brandon Postlock was 2nd place. Brian Johnson in 3rd. Abner Acosta 4th. John Schaffner 5th. Matt DeCiani 6th. Randy Mullen 7th. Tim Wortman Jr. 8th. Randy Belk up to 9th. Kenny Powell in 10th. We're going to take a brief step away. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk to Clayton Hoffman.
Getting into this particular business, it was very important for us to make sure that we were putting out the most authentic product. Sugarlands Distilling Company is a fantastic distillery in downtown Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Our goal is to spread across the country. We would love your help in doing that.
You win. You served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At fallinveteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallinVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallinVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallinVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. We have Derek Heitman going to be joining us up here in the booth for Stage 2, or the conclusion of Stage 2, I should say. Big Al standing by.
Big Al up in the booth, you got me?
Going on?
Hey, man, you're doing pretty good for a guy that just got here. Congratulations on your Stage 2 win.
Hey, thanks, Terry. Really appreciate it.
Man, you sound a little down tonight. What's wrong?
Oh, nothing. That one was just kind of handed to me. It's not like I actually won that. I think Clayton did a short fuel strategy to start that stage out, and I think he underfueled himself by a lap. So, kind of a mistake. I shouldn't have won that stage, but I'll take it where I get it.
I mean, you won that stage. You know, at the end of the day, it's not gonna be Derek Heitman, Clayton ran out of gas. It's just Derek Heitman, winner, Stage 2. So how you feeling, man, for this next and longest run? Is this something that you feel like your car is going to be dialed in for? You excited about it, or you kind of dreading it?
Oh, the car is really good long run as well. I hope it stays green, because I would like this to play out on a green flag pit cycle, hopefully stay green all the way to the end, and we'll see who's really the best guy out here tonight.
Absolutely. We're kind of hoping for the same thing. Was it really, was it an easy week? Is this a track that you actually have up there high on your likings, or is it down on your lackings?
I actually really like this track because it's a larger oval, and it's also takes skill to drive. You don't just have to like jailbreak in the corner. Both corners are different. They're not just like wide arc, wide sweep. It's not a draft track. So this track's, you know, it's a larger oval, which most people like, but it's not an easy one. So I think that's probably why it's one of my favorites.
All right, what's going to be your key to the race here, and then we're going to let you go?
Survive and save tire, and hopefully keep clean air on my nose. But if somebody wants a position, they can take it, because we got a long run ahead of us here.
Roger that, boss. Who are you going to shout out here from Stage 2?
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we'll let you get back to it.
Yeah, Big Al, I don't think he heard you. It was kind of hard to hear you that when you said who you want to shout out. I heard you, but I don't think he got you. You were a little bit faint there. But either way, green flag getting ready to fly once again here. Pace car lights have gone out. Derek Heitman, who won stage number 2, is out front right now. And I'll tell you, I'm still curious on what happened with Clayton Hoffman. I hope we have a chance to get to the bottom of that at some point.
Hey, Derek was saying he short pitted. I'm wondering how he short pitted by a lap. I don't know if
see how that would have helped him. He was in the lead.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how it plays out. So I'll be definitely. So he did. Maybe he has communication. I'm sorry, I had stepped up for a second to fill up my coffee cup while that interview was going on.
Well, Brian, look who's up there in 4th place right now.
Yeah,
he's always there at the end. Yeah, he's always there at the end.
And he was showing good long run pace towards the end of stage 2. This is going to be the long run time of the race.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could restart on green flag, back out in the air. And Derek Heitman, what a start. Wow, just drives away.
Yeah, this is definitely more of a marathon. And Heitman did say the one thing. He said he was going to try to get out front and keep that clean air across his nose. Good strategy, guys.
Yellow flag is already back out. Big
wreck. Big wreck. I think we'll just throw up some cards, guys.
Man, what happened
Yeah, I'm
here?
not sure what happened here. I just saw a bunch of smoke. I'm not exactly
The good
sure.
news
We'll
is,
find out.
the good news is nobody tore anything up majorly. Just looks like a lot of smoke.
It looked like
Oh,
Randy
Randy Drumheller.
gets loose up on the top, comes down into Greg Carr. Also at the exact same time, John Bender gets into the 11. So
Checks up there, he sees it, and then
Yeah,
the
he sees the
23
crash.
totally missed it.
the 23 just could not see what was happening in front of the 11. So yeah.
So could have been a lot worse, guys. I think we kind of kept it together, though. That's gonna be awesome.
I don't think there was really much damage in that situation. But you know what that does give us an opportunity to? Let's talk to Clayton.
Skin it up.
All right, that caution that came out so quickly there is going to give us a chance to talk to Clayton Hoffman. Clayton, you got us.
Yes.
We're just curious, satisfy our curiosity. Why did you short pit stage 2?
No, I ran out of gas.
You ran out of gas.
Yeah, I was a lap short, and I noticed it with 3 to go. I only had 2 laps of gas, so it was pit or run out on track.
So what led to you running out of gas? I know the estimated 72 laps. Is that an auto fuel error or something like that?
No, I just manually put one, or just pretty much gallon and a half short of what I should have put in there. So yeah, I just messed up. Didn't put enough gas in it for that stage. Trying to just see what I can do with low fuel, and it was working good till I ran out of gas.
You definitely seemed really, really fast for sure. But we just wanted to kind of see what exactly happened there. We knew that that couldn't be a strategic thing for sure, because it wouldn't work out for you. But thanks for alleviating that.
You just didn't want to talk to me, Clayton.
Yeah, Big Al took it serious. He took it personally.
We'll see. We'll see what we can do here in this last stage. Try and make our way back up.
All right, Clayton. Who can we shout out before we let you get back to it?
Just shout out Nitro Racing. I'm not sure exactly why. I was kind of expecting the track to not be this cold, but car's still fast. I'll see if I can make it back up there. But yeah, I make the car for Nitro Racing. So if you want to check out our setups, it's nitro-racing.com.
All right, Clayton. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All righty, that was Clayton Hoffman, driver of the 92 machine. He clearly had a fast race car, but that is interesting that he had purposely taken less fuel, and that seemed like it helped him to be faster, to be honest.
I think he fat fingered it is what I think he said happened. He kind of put in like a gallon and a half less than what he needed.
Yeah, exactly.
Like wrong calculations kind of thing.
Yeah, I think he just underestimated how much gas he would need there, and unfortunately, I mean, and that's not surprising because when you're in the clean air like he was for a lot of that stage 2,
you burn
more gas. You burn more gas.
Yep. And another thing, I'd much rather do that, Brian, at the end of stage 2 than say at the end of the race, because that's an entirely different song that's set to an entirely different speed.
Yeah, no wonder he just decided to come down pit road as well. I mean, because like he said, he didn't want to run out of gas on the actual racetrack. I mean, what do? I mean, you got to get somebody to push you to pit road. You got to take a tow. I mean, imagine how costly that would be. And he's still on the lead lap now, so I definitely think that he made the right decision. But here we go. Pace car lights are going out. I do believe we're going to get this thing back underway. We saw a caution, if you're just joining us, that
we're halfway through this thing.
What's that?
I said we're halfway through this thing.
That we are 95 laps into the race here. We just completed stage 2 not long ago. We had a caution just now between, I think, Randy Drumheller got loose off the top and, of course, caused a little bit of some chaos, but no damage too bad, I don't believe. But Derek
Brian, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
So, I need this thing to stay green if I'm going to win the over or under. That's 3 cautions, right?
That is 3 cautions.
No,
okay.
We've had the caution, of course, earlier in the event that took out Chris Johnson. Then we had that caution right before the conclusion of stage 1. We didn't have any cautions in stage 2. And right at the beginning of stage 3, we just saw that caution. So that is 3. So definitely, you are at the moment, it's on your number. I still have a couple cautions to go. Here we go, pace car down pit road. Of course, Big Al's got one more caution. And here we go into the Geico restart zone, green flag.
What a jump Hyman gets.
He definitely has got that mastered. As, of course, Abner Acosta attacking Brandon Pasalacqua for second place. Can Abner take over second? Can he win 2 in a row? Can he earn this one, guys? I think that would close a lot of mouths, wouldn't you say, if he won this one straight up?
I think so, Brian. Because he definitely, half the field was not happy with him last week. So I think he's trying to take it easy and be careful and cautious out there. But I don't think he's gonna do what he. I don't think he's not gonna give it his all and go for the win though.
Oh no, when you have a real, really competitive guys on iRacing. I mean, any iRacer that is, the I ratings above 4,000 or 5,000 or something like that, they're gonna race for wins. That's one thing about it. I mean, anybody that kind of says that they're a driver, they're gonna be racing hard. That's for sure. Here comes Pasalacqua to the inside, though, with Derek Heitman challenging for the lead. Goes Brandon Pasalacqua. Can he retake the lead? Now, Pasalacqua has a very fast race car and always is the most consistent driver in this series. I mean, he is consistently in the top 5, consistently getting podium finishes. This guy runs championship level, seasons, I'd say. But the only thing about it is it's almost like, Mark Martin running championship level seasons when Dale Earnhardt is still running. It's like, even though he's running, he's putting in amazing statistics, the guys he's running against are some of the best on the sim.
Yeah, and that can be pretty frustrating sometimes. It's like you give it your all every week, and you're consistent every week. But I mean, you said it. The guys in here are really fast, some of the best on the sim. So it's very frustrating, but I wouldn't take it as like a bad thing, because there's ways to get better and improve, and you can learn a lot from these guys in this league on like tips on how to improve on your own racing style.
Well, I think Big Al would probably attest to this, that Brandon has very much grown. Wouldn't you say, Big Al? I mean, he has gotten to where he can go toe-to-toe with some of the best now. Yeah, I agree with you, Brian. Battle, though, further back, we see Randy Mullins. I do believe in the midst of a fight there on the edge of the top 10. Randy Belk has quickly worked his way up into the top 10. He's up in 9th right now as we see this gaggle of race cars all over the place. We see, I do believe that is Darren Mullins in 10th. Kenny Powell right there in 11th, trying to get back into that 10th place position. You see Randy Mullins. I'm looking at him battling with Tim Wortman Jr. Wortman getting a good run on the high side on the front stretch. And it looks like, I think they're... Oh, Abner's side by side as well with Josh Shocker. We got battling all over this racetrack. Too much to watch.
Heating up, Brian. Heating up.
It is heating up
spicy
out here.
Just a little bit.
It definitely is getting spicy. Darren Mullins making some big moves here, trying to start battling with his son, Randy Mullins. Look at that, side by side, the father and son pair, 8th and 9th.
Yeah, Darren is not to be denied here tonight, Brian. I think, he really kind of the bull with the horns, if it will.
And I mean, I'm sure most people in this series would agree that is just his driving style. He's been always kind of very hard to pass.
Except they'll learn hard in this series.
He is. He'll ruffle you up. He'll rough you up if you let him.
And he doesn't give father-son discounts either. I think he runs Randy just as hard.
He really does. Maybe even harder.
I mean, if my dad raced with me, I think he'd be racing me a lot harder than anybody else on the track. So,
but here we are, battle for the lead. Brandon Pasalacqua underneath the 76. But you can see Derek's able to defend on the exit because of him running that higher groove. He did say, though, he's like, if somebody comes up here and takes this lead from me, I'm not going to gripe too much. He wants to keep the clean air. So I think eventually
they could have it.
That's what he did say. It doesn't look like this is giving it up. I don't know.
Well, he's still going to make him earn it, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. See, Randy Belk's making some big moves. Getting by Brian Johnson right now. Belk is up to 7th. Can he get this pass completed, though? This is the question. A lot of guys starting to drive their way through this field, trying to make their way up into maybe the top 5. I mean, Belk is looking really fast at the moment.
Yeah, I'm interested to see check in on Clayton Hoffman back there. I see him back there running. He just looks cool, calm, and collected. I'm interested to see if he's going to start pushing here soon and try to get back up there, if he's just going to run his own race.
I think it's just so hard to pass at this racetrack. I mean, you know, you see all this racing in front of him. That makes it even more difficult for a driver like the 92. He has to kind of pick his moments. I mean, it's not going to be, hey, I'm up at the front right now, like within a couple laps. He's going to have to work and climb up this mountain. This is not going to be easy at all. I mean, we've even talked to Derek. He said how difficult
it is.
The
five's going around.
The 5 of Greg Wojcinski with some issues. That's going to cause the caution flag to fly.
And
Dang
look,
it, Big Al.
this guy's just passing Miller Lights out to everybody tonight.
That is Jay Hone in the 19. Of course, just, clobbering the rear end of the 5.
Yeah, it's Hone's second such incident here this evening.
And taking another look at it to kind of see if we can analyze a little bit. You see, I think Jay was thinking about maybe taking it 3 wide. There was gap enough for him to do that. But he missed his entry to the corner. That was the problem. He got tight on entry, came up into the 5. I think there was room for 3 wide, but then he just got tight.
I think they're fine.
And I think Jay suffers a broken toe link there, guys.
Oof.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I think really that mistake from him cost him more than it did Greg Wojcinski, that's for sure. But Wojcinski not going to get out of that unscathed, as we see. Looks like some pit stops happening here. Some guys are going to be taking some tires possibly to see if they can set themselves up for the rest of the run. And guess what, guys? We believe this is perfect. This is perfect for the fuel window. 72 laps is the estimated fuel window. This is exactly 72 laps from the conclusion of this race. While these guys are taking pit stops, though, let's take a brief step away. We'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Getting into this particular business, it was very important for us to make sure that we were putting out the most authentic product. Sugarlands Distilling Company is a fantastic distillery in downtown Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Our goal is to spread across the country. We would love your help in doing that.
You served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallenVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallenVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallenVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallenVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. Apparently, I am guilty of South Carolina math. I thought we had 72 laps to go whenever that caution came out. Apparently, it's actually more than that. So these guys are not good to go on gas. I think they're going to have to save 2 to 3 laps, and this is going to be tough. We saw some guys with some interesting pit strategy under that yellow flag pit stop. Matt DeCiani took 2 tires, spent 10 seconds in his box. Clayton Hoppin spent, I do believe, 9 seconds in his box, possibly a 2-tire stop from him as well. Everybody trying to save fuel. Going to be a lot of clutching here during this run if we can make it. Pace car has dipped down pit road, and here we go into the Geico restart zone. This is going to be interesting. Who's going to save? Who's going to race hard? DeCiani up to the gears. Green flag is back out in the air as we, of course, race into turn number 1. Pasalacqua going to send it in on Heitman as they're side by side for second place. And it's a little bit of side drafting going on there as Pasalacqua does not want to let, of course, the 76 get to the bottom. But it looks like I think the 76 is going to get that pass completed.
Sorry, 6-4 got a little bit squirrely there. Is that dirty air starting to buffet these guys around? But I'm just wondering, Dylan, at this point, this stage, knowing that you might just be a little bit short, are you going to go complete save, or are you just going to go? Are you just saying forget it? I'm going to have to stop.
Ooh, Big Al, that's a good question. Really tough question. I think it's different. I think if you're in the back, I think you burn it, or you can burn it up, get up there, and hope for a caution. Same with the front. But I think it's gonna be a mixed bag for sure. I think there's gonna be guys clutching and saving, giving up that track position, and then there's gonna be guys burning it up and hoping for another caution. It's so many laps to go. It's a really, really tough question.
And I'll tell you what, though, we're seeing some of the fastest laps of the race. Last time by, 29.981 from Derek Heitman. That is the only lap that has been a sub-30-second lap. Heitman's not saving, I'll tell you that.
I think he answered the question. Also, just for your situational awareness, the 19 of Jay Holmes has made his way back onto the racing surface. So at a minimum, he will at least add to that lap car scenario for us. We'll just see how this plays out.
I mean, I'm looking at lap times right now. I don't see any saving going on right now. I see everybody is driving the wheels off these race cars. I got to be honest, I think the majority of these guys realize they can't make it and they're planning on a pit stop.
Yeah, and once you actually come to terms with the fact that you're gonna have to stop, you might as well just keep the hammer down, man, and just see how far you can get this thing. 'Cause you don't want to get left behind. That's going to be the big thing. The big thing is Kenny Powell is still battling side by side with Nick King. These guys there's a lot of racing going on back here.
Oh yeah, Kenny Powell has been flirting with the top 10 for quite a bit, but unfortunately the top 10 is not wanting to get into a committed relationship with Kenny. As of course he's battling with the 3 at the moment. You see Nick King trying to hold on to this spot up on the top groove there.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get those top 10 positions. They generally aren't in the commitment.
Especially in the ISCA. I mean, the top 10 is just full of talented drivers week in and week out. And it's so difficult to get up there in that top 10. When you get up there, it's almost like a different league. And I know Kenny, very, very talented driver, has got a lot of speed underneath the hood. G&G provides him with some very fast race cars. But I'll tell you, the closer you get to the top 5, the more you have to earn every position. Of course, Derek Heitman in control right now of the race. Half a second lead on Matt DiCianni. Brandon Pasolaco, of course, sits in 3rd. Clayton Hoffman 4th. Abner Acosta is in 5th. And still, I'm watching Kenny still racing. But, of course, we do see Abner now under fire, I do believe. But Kenny Powell in the midst of a hornet's nest, fighting with Matthew Cisna. Nick King ahead as well, fighting side by side with Randy Belk. Randy Mullins as well. Right ahead of them, fighting with his teammate, Josh Shopper. So battling all over this racetrack.
Yeah, a lot of side by side.
Randy Bell. A little bit of contact there with Nick King.
Yeah, these guys are duking it out, and they will continue. Like you said, these guys aren't showing any signs of slowing down. I mean, I think they're all committed to pit. And I think some of them might actually believe that there will be a caution attached to that pit.
I think there will be if they keep racing like this. I think if you're just looking at the way these guys are racing, now I do believe, of course, Dylan, I think, is out of the competition when it comes to the over-under. I think, Big Al, you are at the moment, if it stays green to the end, you win the over-under.
Why are you so negative? Why do you say, it's currently leading the charge and this turn over, under, winner. And something like that.
You ought to do it then. I mean, you're better, making it hype. Oh, Kenny Powell, a little bit of bump to the back end of the 11 right now.
They need to do the WWE little entrance thing, and leading the charge, big, ow.
We just need to incorporate the WWE into the ISCA, Maybe a little bumping out there on the racetrack, getting a little physical.
And Big Al comes in with the steel chair.
Yeah, we'll just show up at somebody's house and break all their stuff.
You wouldn't, because like at WWE, they'll have somebody got jumped before the match and they're injured.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll show up at or one of the drivers, like a rival, like, this just in, guys. We're coming into tonight's race, and it turns out that Brandon Pasolaco showed up at Clayton Hoffman's house and destroyed his rig. Like, what?
Shifted, baby.
And we got video footage of it right here. Oh, man. We're cutting up tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all for tuning in. We're having a blast here tonight in the ISCA Super Cup Series. We hope that you are as well. You could have chose to do anything with your Thursday night, but here you are as we see some huge battling going on. Josh Shopper trying to battle with the 3. Looks like he's got that pass complete side by side. Battle of the Randys for 10.
Yeah, this is going to be a doozy as well, man, because Randy Douglas has been mixing it up pretty good here tonight. He's been doing his due diligence not to lose any spots and just kind of keep up around the top 10. I don't think he's actually made it into the top 10 for the last 2 stages, but he's still been around the top 10 for the majority of the night. And Randy Mullins is just trying to make his way back to the front, man. We talked to him earlier. He won stage 1. He's got a fast car. He just needs an opportunity to go out there and display that again.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. And Mullins is kind of in a bad place right now. He doesn't have the tires to play with at the moment. I mean, we got to think he used that set earlier in the race, and that's something we haven't really talked about. I mean, you know, that some guys made that call, that risk earlier in stage one, and unfortunately, I think they're going to start to pay for that now. I mean, if we get another caution and some guys have a set left and some don't, that's going to be a whole different can of worms.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Brian. I think that's what I was wondering in the beginning. It could either pay off for you, it could bite you in the butt, long run. But I don't disagree with what Randy did there at the beginning of the race. He was going for, he said it, he was going for playoff points, he was going for stage points, and he got the win off of it, so it paid off for him. But yeah, interested to see how it's going to play out.
And speaking of interesting to see, all of those guys that pitted together are all running about the same place right now, from Abner Acosta. Then you'll go back. Next you'll be Randy, JC, Kenny, right there in 11th, 12th, and 13th. Well, Matthew Sisner, sorry. So yeah, there's a lot of those four. That's 5 of those 4-car guys, 4-stop guys, and they are in a different predicament.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I'm really interested to see, Darren Mullins, he's running pretty good up in 6th place. He's got some really good pace underneath the hood of that race car. He's actually faster than son Randy tonight. So, almost some really hard racing going on right here, I do believe, between Josh Schaffner and Nick King. These guys are beating and banging a little bit here as King's going to make his way up to 8. This is probably one of the most competitive races for Nick King I've seen so far. Of course, like you said, Big Al, I think he's gotten a top 5 in a stage finish. But, I mean, he could get himself a top 10 actual finish in this race if he keeps it up. I think the 3 looks really competitive. I mean, I think a lot of times we've seen the 3 out on the racetrack. He doesn't seem like he's as good on the long run, very fast short run. But I think he's got a good run going right now to where he's got the full package. Josh Schaffner, though, seems to be struggling. Last time by 30.8 from that race car. He's on the edge of falling outside of the top 10. Right now, the best running Paradigm driver is Brandon Paslakwa up in 3rd.
Yeah, Josh definitely does look like he's got his hands full tonight in this car. I don't think he's having a happy night. He's still been in the top 10 for most of it, but definitely doesn't look like everything's working in his favor.
One thing I'm really interested in, I mean, I know this might not sound like a huge accomplishment for some drivers, but John Bender started this race in 26th. He's running in 15th. I got to say, that's a pretty good net gain for that driver here tonight. I do believe that's 11 spots. As Kenny Powell tries to attack the 11 of Matthew Cisna. Powell trying to work his way back up closer to the top 10.
I'll tell you, somebody who's been putting the pressure on is DeCiani. DeCiani at the last couple laps has actually been running faster than the race leader right now.
Yeah, DeCiani definitely seems like he's got some speed, but remember that DeCiani later in the run seems to have a tight condition. We'll see if that's still going to be the case, what's going to happen. You know, has he maybe made adjustments to that race car? Would not surprise me. I definitely would not be surprised if he, has made some adjustments or something like that. But he has always been good at, adjusting and making tweaks and things like that. But of course, dirty air is huge. I think that the closer that DeCiani gets to Heitman, the less I think he's going to be able to maintain that faster pace.
Brian, I want to mention before I forget, Clayton Hoffman is actually clutching the car in the corners.
That is really, really interesting. I'm glad you've been kind of looking through the cockpits to kind of see who is saving, who is not, and it seems we're going to look on board right now. Let's see exactly. Yeah, there he goes, clutching right there, all the way down to 2,000 RPMs. He's definitely trying to save, and it's not hurting his pace very much either. 30.5 last time by. Of course, he is being caught by Tim Wortman Jr.
Yeah, but if you look, you'll see that the 76 and the 1 are literally in their own time zone, which means that everybody from Brandon Pasalacqua back, they're doing exactly what Clayton's doing. They're actually clutching and saving gas because these guys are committed to try to make it to the end of this thing. So 2 different strategies, and they'll keep doing it until they get the green light, and then we go, baby, go, right?
That's interesting. So have you been looking on board with some of these other guys, and you're seeing them clutching as well?
Are you talking to me, Brian?
No, I was talking to Big Al. He said that he said everybody behind Clayton was clutching as well.
Just looking at the distance between the leaders and everybody else. I mean, this guy's almost got a 3-second lead on 3rd place.
Yeah, I don't see Wortman doing it.
I'm looking to see if anybody else is doing it.
The only guy I see really doing it is Hoffman, and he's still keeping time with him. That's very impressive.
Yeah, because Wortman is actually even in 4th gear going through the turns, and so he's burning more gas essentially.
Yeah, I was just curious to see exactly what everybody's doing when it comes to strategies here. It does seem like, from what I'm seeing, Clayton is the only one that's doing it. So that's interesting. I mean, I thought maybe Abner would be, but no, yeah, Clayton. I mean, Clayton's he's so good. I mean, you got to think this guy.
But Metro Scouts don't know how to clutch it the same.
And he does. I mean, he's just always doing some next level stuff, and that might be the reason he wins this race because of that. I mean, he that 2 laps or 3 laps that these guys got to save, that could equal that.
Very well so, Brian. I mean, you still got 40-some laps to go. He could really honestly make it on fuel the way he's clutching.
We do have to keep it in mind, though, he did take 2 tires on that last stop. So what will that mean for? I mean, I know that at a track like this, left sides probably don't wear as much, but you know, I don't know. Could there be something? Maybe some sort of symptom of that 2-tire stop later, Dylan?
It could. But I think Clayton's point of view, what he was thinking, was with the 2 tires, he won't be able to go up there and probably contend to pass these guys. So I think that he thought, I'm gonna take 2, and I'm gonna clutch to save, and try to make it all the way and make the rest of these guys pit.
And don't forget also, Clayton's track position probably also led him to do what he did because he was really kind of in the back of the pack if you think about it.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, no, he was in 17th. I mean, I think that was a stroke of genius to take that 2-tire stop to gain so much track position, and it clearly worked out for him. So I definitely think, I just thought maybe there would be some sort of issue with his left sides being a little bit more worn than his rights. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's hurting him at the moment right now, especially I think with that clutching, he's kind of taking a little bit easier on the tires anyway.
Yes,
he's going to have to do, if no one else is able to make it, if everybody else ends up committing to pitting and splitting this run in half, they're going to be pitting probably in the next maybe 10 laps or so. If they are 5 or 10 laps, somewhere in there, if they're committed to splitting this in half. Now, if he doesn't run, he's going to have to do a 75-lap run. I mean, that's a long run on a set of tires at this track.
I'm thinking those guys are trying to save as well. I just don't think they have mastered all of the techniques yet.
And it is, Brian. It is. But I think, truthfully, the way Clayton Hoffman is saving his fuel and saving his tires, I think it's going to be nearly impossible, even if they do get pit and get their fresh tires, to even get up to him and contend with that short of laps to go.
Well, and I think the fall off has not been great enough for them to be able to have that much of an advantage. Like some tracks like Darlington, I've seen to where you can actually add an extra stop and catch someone that's on old tires. But this track, it doesn't seem like it's producing the fall off that would require something like that to happen.
Yet DeCiani and Heitman continue to run away with this thing. I mean, they're lead now the gap up to 4 seconds, so I'm starting to be of the inclination that these guys are going to try to get as far ahead as they can to gain that favor for when they come down pit road.
Yeah, no, these guys are absolutely going to have to end up pitting I would assume. And if they don't, I'm going to be wrong again. I've been wrong before, that's for sure.
They're not conserving, I'll tell you that.
No, definitely not. We got some big battling going on further back, though. Matthew Cisna trying to hold off Kenny Powell. And you see Mark Sanchez right there. J.C. Evans fighting with John Bender. So a lot of fighting going on still on this racetrack.
The crazy thing is, Brian, that there's so many different scenarios that can happen. Matt DeCiani and Heitman go in right now and they pit, and a caution comes out. Their race is ruined.
Yeah, 100%. Race over.
But they're gonna have to risk that anyway, unless they just stay out and hope for a late race caution. But it looks like the 76 is kind of outrunning the 1 now.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of going exactly what I was talking about earlier. I think DeCiani is starting to get tight. We talked about that race car getting really snug on the longer runs, and it seems like that's exactly what's happening now. Again, 30.8 last time by. He's starting to slow down. And
Pitting.
Yep, they're both coming in. Now they
two.
And they got to hope that they're far enough ahead that they're actually going to be able to get back out and not lose this lap, guys.
Yeah, I don't think that's possible. I think they're going to end up going a lap down.
Well, I think that was a good move by them. It gives you enough time to kind of get up there and hopefully try to contend with Clayton and the guys that are saving. Because you definitely don't want to pit as late as possible if it stays green.
We've seen this happen to these guys before. Especially we've seen this happen to Derek, where the pit kind of hurt him. Real busy on pit road now.
Yeah, Hyman took
Randy
two.
Yeah, Nick King and Randy Belton down pit road.
Now, I really like a two-tire call here. I think that's really going to save you some time on pit road. You don't need a whole lot of fuel. You might as well take 2 tires, try to limit the amount of time you're going to spend. But you might need to adjust the race car a little bit, maybe throw a little bit of some adjustments, as Heitman should be able to unlap himself, as he actually has caught up to the rear of Clayton Hoffman and Pasalacqua here. As we see Nick King coming out of his box, I do believe Randy Belk coming down as well. So pit road definitely very busy at the moment. But Pasalacqua, still your leader. Heitman right behind him, trying to unlap himself.
I think this kind of forces Pasalacqua and them guys to kind of make their bed.
But, I just, lap time-wise, even though, Heitman's probably going to be about 6 or 7 tenths faster than them, I don't think that's enough to catch up to them, though. Because eventually he's going to plateau on his lap times. And he's not going to be really reeling them in as much as he was probably towards the beginning of this run, unless we see drastic fall off from, Clayton. Now, Clayton, I don't know, has Brandon been saving at all? He's in clean air right now. Looking on board with Brandon Pasalacqua, we're going to take a lap around the racetrack in the 6 machine's eyes. I think he has, like you kind of said, Dylan, I think he's made his bed. I think these guys have really committed to not stopping. I'm looking on board right now with Pasalacqua myself to see if he is clutching. He is not. He is shifting. He is not clutching. Looks like Darren Mullins coming to pit road. Of course, Clayton's in the best spot right now. He is clutching, and he's like following right behind the 6. Like throughout the corner, he's able to maintain his distance between the 6 and him with the draft, and he's able to clutch almost effectively. He's almost shutting off the car through the center of the corner, which is just absolutely crazy to see someone perform it and able to hold the lap times that he's holding at the moment. And you can hear the engine shutting off. Not shutting off, but essentially it sounds like it's shutting off through the corner. This is the call that is going to probably win him this race. And no one else is able to really replicate this, guys. Can he pull this off? Will guys like Abner, Brandon, Tim Wortman Jr., will they have enough to make it on fuel, or is Clayton the only one that can make it on no stops? Such a fascinating race here tonight. As, of course, we have two different strategies playing out.
Yeah, that's a cool.
Go ahead.
I love it when we get a chance to actually have different strategies. I mean, these guys had to be committed to running this whole thing, and the other guys, DeCiani and Heitman, had to be committed to pitting and catching back up again. So yeah, it's awesome to get to see it play out.
John Bender now up to 11th place. He just got by Kenny Powell. So Bender having a great night in that 23 Sun Drop machine. I know Big Al's got to be happy to see that.
Absolutely, Brian. But some of these guys are going to have to pit. I mean, that's a reality here. I don't know if all of them are going to be able to make it.
That's for sure. Mark Sanchez up to 7th right now. Just got by Matthew Cisna. Cisna's starting to slow down a little bit. Should I say a lot of bit. Last time by 31.7 from Matthew Cisna. I don't know if he's saving, but he's definitely slowed down quite a lot. As we're looking on board with Mark Sanchez as he gets around the racetrack. Definitely not any clutching going on here. I think that Cisna's keeping it in 5th gear through the corner, and that's indicative that he's trying to kind of maintain a lower RPM with that 5th gear. And it does save a little bit of gas. I don't think it's going to be enough. And here we go, coming up to, I do believe, 26 laps to go, or 27 to go, I should say. Brandon Pasalacqua out front. He's been one of the fastest cars all night. Does he have enough? He is, of course, in the clean air. No draft to help him. Clayton, who is clutching and has draft at the same time. Of course, we see some battles starting to come to fruition, as I do believe Randy Mullins trying to fight with teammate Josh Schaffner. Also, Tim Wortman Jr. side by side with Abner Acosta for 3rd.
Abner slowly making his way up to the front as well, revealing his strategy that is definitely starting to come into play. Just 25 laps at the line left in this thing, Brian. This is about as close to go time as we're going to get here.
And who knows? I mean, Abner has been kind of saving all race long. I mean, in stage 1, stage 2, I mean, he was slow early. He was. I mean, he was not very fast early, but then the car started coming to him later in the run, and I think this fits him perfectly. He's the fastest car on the track right now.
Yeah, well, you're pitting or getting. I think it's about time to do either or, because you can't let that lead group. You know what I mean? You gotta keep those guys in your sight, I guess, is what I mean, the guys that already been lapped.
I mean, looking at his pace right now, he is very fast compared to Clayton Hoffman. Last time by, he was 0.2 faster than Hoffman. So I think he'll easily be able to take 2nd place away. But we'll see how this kind of works out. Is Abner going to be good to go on gas because he saved early in the run? Will he be good to go? Of course, we've mentioned it before. We're going to have to see these guys save 2 or 3 laps, which is very difficult to do at a track like this, to where you really have to get back to the gas and use to be able to power off the corners. As we see a big battle going on, Greg Carr and Kenny Powell fighting it out. This is, of course, for the 13th place position. Getting very close to one another as we're now 22 laps to go here in just a moment. Carr is going to take that spot away. Kenny Powell desperate. He is having some struggles. A little bit tight on the exit. Woo! Has to let it out of the gas, and that's going to possibly That is definitely going to give that position back to Greg Carr. But Brandon Pasalacqua out front. And what a race for him tonight. Can he maintain this lead? As he slows down a little bit, I think he's saving. I think all these guys are kind of trading off laps in a way to where they're saving one lap and not saving the next. Man, this has been an interesting show to say the least. Strategy is the name of the game.
Yep. And the coolest thing about it is that we actually got a chance to see guys apply their own strategy, and it's working so far. So, barring some unforeseen, late race caution that's going to change everything. Because even how many guys have tires left, and you don't get to pick. So if you've used that right side set of tires, you can't take the lefts and put them to the right. So you kind of got.
I wish you could.
Yeah, me too. Right.
But no, you're right. I mean, whenever you're in the box and you're clicking the rights or the lefts, it does not. You don't have an option to say, "Hey, I'm going to take these lefts that I didn't use and put them on my rights." You do not have that option, and that's it's unfortunate. I mean, it's the same thing. I wish they would allow you to be able to put scuffs on the race car that you might have used earlier in the race that you might not have hardly used at all. But that also is not an option. iRacing, if you're watching, make that happen. But definitely has been a strategy-full race here tonight. It's been quite interesting. J.C. Evans plummeting through the field there for a second there. He's going to fall back to 12th place as Brian Johnson gets by him.
Yeah, that's going to be a byproduct of one or two things, tires or fuel.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys are just saving in the hard way. That, kind of saving gas in iRacing can happen in one of two ways. You can either let off and not drive it as hard, or you can do what Clayton is doing and kind of clutch when you already are off the gas anyway.
The majority of the fields have an excess of 60 laps or greater on their tires. So, yeah, these guys are definitely feeling it.
Oh, I guarantee it. The struggling is probably what a lot of these guys are doing right now. But the top three really aren't struggling. I mean, their lap times are almost identical, all in the 30.6 range. And doing calculations, Derek Heitman last time by 30.2. He, of course, is the fastest car out of the drivers that did hit to split this in half. He is back in 15th. He's 16 seconds back from the leader, Brandon Pasalacqua. He is hitting, his lap times are about 5/10 faster than the leader. Doing calculations, that is not enough.
He's going to have a lot of traffic to get through as well, Brian. You got to take that into consideration. And the guys that he's passing, they don't have the most stable cars. As a lot of these guys are 60 laps on their tires.
Exactly, Big Al, exactly. The way this is kind of unfolding is very interesting. I don't think we're going to know whose strategy is going to work until we get to the last lap. I mean, because this is I think we're going to start to see these guys that are trying to run this no-stop strategy start to drop like flies. I got to be honest. I think soon, probably in the next 10 laps, we're going to start to see like Brandon. I think Brandon Pasalacqua was going to be one of the first one. He's going to be, oh, here he goes down pit road. He's sputtering, And then I think some other guys are going to have that same issue. Last man standing, if they're able to make it on that last lap, that's going to be the telltale sign. We won't know until we get to the checkered flag.
I tell you what, Brian Johnson has definitely kicked it into gear, and he is trying to make his way up front. Even though he has 20 laps less on his tires than the guys around him, it's definitely starting to show. As he literally picked off Drumhiller, then he went right to Bender, and then he made easy work of Sisson. So Brian Johnson's on the move.
He definitely is.
I'll say another guy on the move is Abner Acosta. He's starting to push, and you said it, Brian. He's always there at the end.
Yeah, here he goes to the inside of Clayton Hoffman. Battle side by side for second place. Of course, we got Nick King, who's on the newer tires, trying to get by as well to see if he can possibly unlap himself.
This is going to be that sticky point where you hope that lap, those guys trying to unlap themselves have enough patience, that they respect the fact that these guys are the leaders.
Now that they are battling for second place. Kind of give these guys a little bit of respect, but then again, you're trying to race your own race. You're trying to get back on the lead lap. That if a caution comes out, you can get back, what you lost essentially with the way this strategy's had to play out.
Yeah, you just don't want to be the cause of the caution.
100%. Clayton, though, fighting hard on that higher side. Now, this is what would cause Clayton to not have enough fuel, having to fight Abner.
Absolutely, and you can imagine the stress that they're putting on their tires, especially Peyton having to run in that high line for as long as he's having to do so. But he knows that if he lets Abner go with just 10 laps left to go, that he's not going to see second place again.
Depending on if Abner runs out of fuel himself. So this is kind of a tightrope in a way that these guys are walking. One thing this is doing for Brandon, though, is this is allowing Brandon to create somewhat of a gap between these two.
Yeah, he's got some good feelings up there, Brian. Just being able to just kind of be stress-free at this stage of the contest, that's got to be making them feel pretty good.
100%. And it allows him to kind of focus on just saving fuel. And I think that's kind of what's in his mind right now, is they're still battling side by side for second place. We're less than now 10 laps to go as we're coming up to 8 laps to go. The next closest driver to this top three is 6 seconds back.
Nick King cannot wait. I think he is going to push this 3 wide here with 8 to go.
And we got Darren Mullins coming up as well. I mean, you can understand why Nick wants to go, because he's got Darren Mullins coming up on him. And it looks like Clayton has defended the position as Nick King going to try to send it in on the 55. This is getting complicated.
And look at Abner now. I think he really just kind of exhausted himself right there. Maybe you think he kind of started to move a little bit too quick?
I don't know. I think he saw the lap counter kind of clicking down. I mean, I don't think you can move quick enough here towards the end of this race. I mean, the sand is running out of this hourglass, Big Al, as we just saw a change in 5th place, I do believe. And 4th place. Looks like Randy Mullins moves up to 4th. Josh Schaffner up to 5th. Tim Wortman Jr. back to 6th. As we're starting to see even a battle, I do believe, among the lap cars. Darren Mullins attacking the 3. Now, last week we saw a late race caution that led to a green-white checkered. This is looking like this could maybe lead to another green-white checkered, the way these guys are battling each other on the lap down cars.
No, I think we're good. I think everybody's going to stay right there where they're at. That big Al get the over-under at 4, and we'll wrap this thing up here about, 5 laps or so.
You're right. This is exactly where you want it to be. I mean, imagine how I'd be worried if I was in Clayton's shoes right now. I mean, he's got Darren Mullins. He's got Nick King all over him right now.
Yeah, he's definitely not feeling too, with 5 to go, he's feeling way too cozy. How about that?
He's probably
King, look at King, he's trying to get a little aggressive there with the bumper. Man, you can't bump the King.
I don't know. I think he might think he can, but at the moment we're getting closer and closer to that moment to where some guys I think are going to start to sputter. I mean, we're very long into this run.
Well, how do we even brief that,
4 laps into this run right now. This is further than the fuel window.
44, Drumheller pit road.
And that is the sign. They're going to start dropping like flies. The people that have not been saving.
Oh, Clayton gets a little loose there, and Abner is mounting his second charge as he is trying to slowly come back up onto the 92. Clayton got slowed down just enough there dealing with King that allowed Abner to kind of get his second win. And Brandon Pasalacqua, he's also kind of starting to slow down just a little bit, guys.
They might be looking at the black boxes, looking at the fuel numbers and saying, I don't have enough. As we still have 2 laps to go. That is over 2.5 miles. Can these guys make it to the end? You see Pasalacqua slowing down a ton. The white flag, though, next time by.
Ooh, there's a 43. He's on the apron. That would be Paul Olsen.
As you see the 55 diving in on the 92. They are battling. As there it is, the white flag is going to wave here at Nashville Super Speedway. Does Brandon Pasalacqua have enough to make it across the start-finish line and win?
The race to top the Big Al.
This would be his second race of the season he's won.
Yeah, that battle for second, though, it's not getting any further apart as those guys are still splitting hairs here.
But I think Brandon, he's coming out of turn 4. Does he have enough? And I think he does. He has enough to coast it there. Brandon Pasalacqua, your winner here at Nashville. What a performance from Brandon Pasalacqua. Clayton Hoffman comes home in second place. Abner comes home in third. What a job from Brandon. Brandon was in the clean air the entire time. How did he save enough? I'm shocked to see that Brandon actually was able to complete this race under power. How much gas is he going to have to do a burnout, though, is the question. But what a job to Brandon Pasalacqua, able to get the win here. And I think he might have just taken the points lead back here after this because Patrick Gitter was not in competition here tonight. And there goes Brandon up to the front stretch. And he does have a little bit of tire and gas left to do a little bit of a burnout. I don't know how much. Well, let's run down. I think that was it. Let's run down through the final running order here. That is, of course, the point standings. Let's Brandon Pasalacqua, your winner here tonight. Clayton Hoffman finishes in second place. Abner Acosta finishes in third. Randy Mullins in fourth. Josh Schaffner fifth. Of course, Derek Heitman sixth. That's pretty good for Heitman to be able to work his way back up to sixth. Brian Johnson in seventh. John Bender eighth. Great. He started in last in 26th position. What a job from Bender. Ninth place, Tim Wortman Jr. Matthew Cisna in 10th.
That's going to put Mark Sanchez in 11th with J.C. Evans in 12th. Greg Carr brings it home in 13th. Matt DeCiani in 14th. Greg Wachinski comes home in 15th. Darren Mullins in 16th. 17th, Kenny Powell. 18th, Nick King. 19th, Randy Belk. And Ryan Huff runs out the top 20.
Randy Drumhiller finishes 22nd. Paul Olson in 22nd. I should say 21st, Randy Drumhiller. 22nd, Paul Olson. Jay Hone in 23rd. Derek Jacobs, 24th. Alexander Carr, 25th. Chris Johnson, unfortunately, was involved in the first crash. He finishes 26th. With that, we're going to take a step away. We'll come right back, and we'll talk to our post-race top three.
Getting into this particular business, it was very important for us to make sure that we were putting out the most authentic product. Sugarlands Distilling Company is a fantastic distillery in downtown Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Our goal is to spread across the country. We would love your help in doing that.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. We just watched a thrilling race where we weren't sure if anybody was going to be able to make it on fuel there, but it looks like these guys were able to do it. Of course, first up, we're going to have Dylan Banks, our color analyst, talking with Abner Acosta. Dylan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brian. That was a fantastic race there, Abner. Congrats on your P3. Man, me and Brian were talking about it at the beginning of the race. Man, you always find a way. You might not be there at the beginning, but you were always there at the end. Kind of talk us through how your race went tonight.
Yeah, I definitely was pretty slow at the start of the stints, and at the end I would kind of come in a little bit. So that last accident worked out because it was gonna be a very long stint, and I noticed that I could make it on tires if I saved, so I just saved since the beginning, and yeah, that's how I made it to the end.
Yeah, I've seen some guys clutching, mainly Clayton only. I think he was like the only one I saw clutching, but I know you were telling me over on commercial break that you were actually lifting on entry just a little bit more. I was very shocked to see that worked because I don't know how much y'all were short by. Do you know how much y'all were short by?
My caps was telling me like since the beginning it was like 0.020. It wasn't that much, but then I felt like I saved the whole stint and that number was not moving. So and I made it at the end with 0.02. So
wow.
I'm not, I haven't practiced clutching, so I wasn't gonna try to mess up. So I just lifted early every time on every turn on entry, and I
Yeah, man, that's pretty impressive. I'm glad to see you made it and got a P3 out of it for sure. Great night for you. It's so impressive to see you every week. You might not start off good, but you were always there at the end, and that's what it takes in this league to be consistent. You were very consistent. It was awesome seeing you tonight. I was also gonna say that lap traffic that came up there. I know that was it had me on the edge of my seat seeing them guys come up there and kind of that. It seemed like they didn't want to force on you and Clayton, but they had to go as well. I know that was probably making you a little bit nervous, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I forgot who was behind me, but he was very, very patient. But it was like they passed me, and then they passed I think Clayton, and then they kind of slowed down after that. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like they wouldn't just get away. They were just racing with us. So it was a little annoying, but they were being very careful. So I mean, I don't think we had any like close calls or anything like that. But yeah, it did get close.
Yeah, that was very interesting to see there. But yeah, congrats on your P3, man. Great night for you. You want to give us your shout outs before we let you go?
Yeah, shout outs to you guys for broadcasting and ISCA for the league and the clean racing. Thank you.
Alrighty, that was Abner Acosta, driver of the 55 machine, finishes in third. Next up, we're going to have Clayton Hoffman standing by with Big Al.
Hey, Hoffman, Big Al up in the booth. You got me.
Yes, sir.
Buddy, it was a long one here tonight. You started this thing in 8th place. I mean, you told us last week that you were going to qualify. Had a very decent qualifying effort. Came strong through the first 2 stages. Except for stage 2, there was a little snafu there with the fuel thing. But overall, man, you were actually able to bring this thing home in P2. So, solid effort.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how I was going to go there after I ran out of gas almost on that second stage and had to pit before the stage end and went a lap down. But yeah, I got lucky. It worked out, and 2 tires worked so well here. It's just unfortunate that didn't get another caution to where I could kind of reset because I was just so tight that last run. I did a lot of clutching to make sure I saved enough gas, and by the time I saved enough gas, I just didn't have enough front tire left to make the corner like I needed to make passes. And yeah, Abner, he ran really good. I think he saved more tire than fuel there at the beginning, and yeah, we were battling there all the way to the stripe. So had a couple lap cars there on fresher tires that were like, they wanted to go by, and then it was like I wasn't sure if they wanted to go by, and then they went by, and it was kind of weird there, but it ended up with us side by side right at the line. wish, like I said, wish I could have got at least one more caution, maybe, to even things out, give me a chance at the win. Thought I might have had a chance, but yeah, Brandon just was able to save enough front tire that run, and I wasn't.
Yeah, well, did that surprise you that Abner was right there on you like that towards the end of this thing?
No, considering the only reason I got all my track position back was because I took 2 tires and went from 15th to 4th. Not really surprised at all, really.
Where are we at next week, Brian?
I do believe we're at the Chicago Street Course, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh, the street course. What are you thinking about that?
I'll have to step in. We're not. We are celebrating the 4th of July next week, so there will be no race next week. Then we're coming back to Pocono.
Boogity, boogity. So, hey, man, congratulations on your second place finish. We're off next week, and man, who you shouting out tonight?
Thanks to you guys in the booth for calling the race. Kobe doing all the camera work. Kenny for putting on the league. Shout out to Abner for the intense battle we had there at the end. It was pretty exciting, I'd say. I don't know. I thought it was gonna go a different way than it did, honestly. But at least we had a good finish there. It was nice and close. And shout out to Brandon for being able to save enough gas and tire there to stretch it out.
Roger that, boss. Can't wait to see you back at Pocono. As I always say, don't party too hard.
I'll be ready.
Alrighty, that was Clayton Hoffman. A little bit of a final word there. I'll be ready. You can quote that. Sure. Next up, we're going to talk to our winner, Brandon Pasalacqua. I talk about how good and consistent you are. You've been just insanely consistent, and but haven't been consistently in victory lane. You've been consistently a top 5 finisher, podium finisher. Now I do believe you're at your second win on the season. Man, I mean, did you know you were going to have a chance to win this thing tonight, Brandon? I mean, you seemed like you were the fastest in practice there for a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think I necessarily, coming into the race, thought I was going to be able to win. I was just hoping I could get a top 5 finish. So to come out with a win today is definitely more than I could bargain for. So I'll take it. And I mean, the 5 points for the playoffs is huge. And it stinks that Gitter wasn't here tonight for it to battle. But that does help me a little bit to try to catch him a little bit. So all in all, it was a good race, and I'm glad it went the way it did.
Well, I'll tell you, even if Gitter was here, I don't know if he would have been able to fight you. I mean, considering his teammates, the Team Conti boys, I mean, Derek Heitman and Matt DeCiani were on a completely different strategy than you were. I mean, if Patrick was on that same strategy that they were, you would still have won this race.
Yeah, and we weren't sure about the strategy there. Our team didn't even think about splitting it down the middle. So when they came down pit road, it was a surprise to us, and then had us second guessing, well, do we follow them in or just keep riding with the plan that we made, and we just rode with it, and luckily it worked out. The problem is the lap time fall off is just not great enough to where I thought, to where it was worth it. So because of that, luckily our strategy was the right one, but I very easily could have been us doing their strategy, so it worked out.
And it's interesting to note, how you were able to still save. You were into clean air more than any of the top 3. Of course, Clayton was in your tire tracks essentially for the majority of that run. How did you manage to save that much fuel? I mean, how much did you have left?
Yeah, when we came off pit road, I was about a lap to a lap and a half short, if I recall correctly. And then between shutting the car off on the pace laps before that last restart, and then backing up my corner, essentially, is all I did. I kept my same shift markers and everything, but just let off the gas, 2 car lengths sooner. Earlier. So that was a lot to handle because you're trying to manage your tires. You're also trying to save fuel, and when you're trying to save fuel, you actually hurt the right front up a little bit, hurt the right front a little bit more. So it was such a juggle. It was juggling at the end there, and when lap traffic started coming by, it was like almost too much to handle. So luckily, it worked out.
It definitely seemed like it worked out for you. Now, July 4th, it sounds like we're going to be having some fun. Not racing, of course. Having a week off a lot of times can be stressful if you didn't win, or if you made a mistake or something like that, but you're going to be able to kind of have a little bit of a stress-free week off. Do you think that's going to, kind of improve your enjoyment of the holiday?
Well, definitely. I mean, well, I don't know about the enjoyment of the holiday. I mean, I might be pumped for tonight and tomorrow, but besides that, I'll probably forget about it and enjoy the holiday. I actually have a bachelor party in Scottsdale, Arizona, so we're going to enjoy our time out there. And then when we come back, I forget the track that Kenny said, Pocono or Indy, either one. Pocono. That was a good track for me last year, so I'm sure the guys at Paradigm and I will be able to come up with a decent set for us to run. And it's been good lately. We've been having consistent finishes and finishing at the top of the leaderboards for a little bit now. So it's good to see our team being consistent and us all having speed. So.
All right. Well, you're already kind of shouting out Paradigm. Who can we shout out?
Yeah, definitely shout out to Randy, Josh, and Brian, all finishing top sound tonight. That was great. I want to thank Obi Builders, Door and Trim, Ram Welding, and Fabrication. Shout out to Abner and Clayton. Those two got battling, and that's what essentially allowed me to be able to pull away and get the win. If they didn't battle, I think they both would have been knocking on my door. And it was more of a blocking game for me with Clayton right behind me because I know how bad that dirty air was as Simon was doing it to me at the beginning of the race. So nonetheless, it was fun battling those guys. Shout out to Kenny and everything he does for the league. And then you, Brian, Big Al, and Kobe, we generally appreciate everything you guys doing.
All right. Thanks, Brandon. Definitely appreciate the shout out, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good. Enjoy your holiday as well.
Thank you. That was Brandon Passalacqua, driver of the Six Machine, picking up his second win of the season, and that probably would have should catapult him to the points leader once again. What a race we saw here tonight. Big Al, any final thoughts?
Hell yeah. Just want to wish my fat, ugly wife a happy birthday. I ain't going to tell you that just works better for me to say that coming up on the 4th of July. Great race, man. Great seeing the strategies work out. Great to see the caliber of drivers that actually are able to come out here and put on a consistent good show week in and week out. Awesome working with the guys on my left and right and the guy down below. And thanks for the boss upstairs, man. That's all I got.
All right, thanks for your time, Big Al. Of course, we want to give a shout-out to Dylan Banks for being a great color analyst for us as well. Kobe Jordan for doing a fantastic job down behind the cameras. And, of course, can't do it without my partner in crime, Big Al. Thanks to Kenny Powell for putting these races on the ISCA Series, a long-running league. And I tell you, it has been absolutely a blast since I began my career in the ISCA, so definitely want to give Kenny a shout out for giving us all a chance to call these races. And this was an awesome one to see some fuel strategy kind of work out. Of course, next week we're going to be off, but the week after that we'll be back at Pocono Raceway, and that's the Tricky Triangle. That one's going to be an awesome one. I love that track, and I think it's going to be a hybrid in a lot of ways. It's super speedway / road course. I mean, it's kind of just all wrapped into one. We're going to see probably some shifting. We're going to see some guys going through the tunnel turn. It's going to be crazy. Broadcast is going to start at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The race begins at 9:30. A little after that, that's when the green flag actually drops. But we'll see you there. Have a happy 4th of July. And have a great day, rest of your night, I should say. But thanks for tuning in to the ISCA. My name is Brian Britt, and we'll see you next time.
I found the ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part, and really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, maybe a little cleaner driving and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA,